get themselves into a pigeonhole. And so what I always say to do is to look at the skills, the knowledge and desire that you have. So you've done logistics. There's tons of, those types of jobs within sports, or, facilities management that leads to, I know a city manager that became the president of the Atlanta Hawks, I think, utilizing the same skills and knowledge that he had, organizing and managing the city into a team. And because there's so many opportunities in sports, I think it's important for us to take inventory of skills that we have, the knowledge that we have, and then the desire, and then really be more interested than interesting, explore not just the companies that are out there and all the sites that are out there, but you'll be amazed how many people create their own coincidences, right? You start paying attention to, God, I'd really like to do this, and then you do, say, think, believe, and feel that. All of a sudden, you're somewhere and some guy's like, oh, I'm starting a business, run it for me. Or it's just a part of another business. Some of the funner jobs I remember in sports are, one of my friends ran American Express Sports and Entertainment. And he was literally a finance guy, but he loved sports. And he ended up being the president of American Express Sports and Entertainment. Why is that significant? Because he loves sports. And, no better way, I always say, to enjoy sports than to be in a position to sponsor actual sports, right? I always say, have you ever heard my story about the guy, he was an MBA from Notre Dame? So I spoke at Notre Dame, and it was their MBA program, and I asked, it was the fall semester, so I said, who here has a job? And, I think three people raised their hand. It was a sports management program, MBA. So who has a job? And two of them were working for teams, super low level job that you did not need an MBA to have. And the third kid, I said, oh, what you doing? And he said, oh, I'm working for Scott's Lawn Care. And everyone's kind of laughing in the sports, business management is like, yeah, what are you doing for Scott's Lawn Care? Oh, I'm in the marketing department, director of marketing. And everyone's kind of laughing. I said, really, what's your job? He said, well, they gave me a $2 million budget, and I'm supposed to host all the dealers, like the dealers for Scott's Lawn Care, at the Super Bowl, the Masters, and he's listing off. And so I said, that's one of the best jobs in sports, in my opinion. First of all, you're using someone else's money. You're throwing parties at all the biggest sporting events. All ESPN loves you because your parent company spends a fortune buying advertising for them. So they're letting you into every other party besides the parties that and you get to go to the games. And basically, your job is amazing, right? Meanwhile, people are still trying to get that ticket sales job for the Cubs, right? It's some low-level internship. But, it doesn't happen unless you do, say, think, believe, and feel what you want and take inventory of your own skills, knowledge, and desire, align it with the opportunities that exist. Those people that are interested, the funny thing was, he was making $150,000 a year for that job, right? Having a great time, and who knows where he's at. I had another kid who just called me, and he's works for the Texas Rangers. I gave my book when it first came out, and he wanted to be a scout, like a lot of guys do that are in baseball, and he goes through the whole thing, and I said, oh, why are you calling me? He said, oh, things have changed. The general manager wants to run a leadership development and mindset program for the entire organization. And that's his job. Leadership, development, and mindset for the entire Rangers organization. And he calls me, right, because he wants me now to help. Meanwhile, that job didn't exist 10 years ago when I gave him my book, right? He wanted to be a scout. And when he got to be what he wanted to be, a scout, he realized, wow, this isn't what I really wanted to be. So lesson in sports is it's a backdrop, it's not a job. You contain your skills, knowledge, desire, apply it to the industry, and you'll find huge opportunity. So, who else have a question? Oh, sorry. Who else have a question? Hi, I'm Dave. Good to see you. Thanks for coming.
Hi.
Hi, I'm Dave. Thanks for coming. Good.
Vegas.
Yeah. Y'all came up here?
Came up here, we could have met, I think, on the
Yeah, you could have come.
July 13th or something?
I was there a couple of days ago, yeah.
That's right, yeah.
But I'm going to be back July 13th again.
Right, yeah.
Anybody have a question? Yes, sir. Please.
So I saw your set of goals like empowering 1 billion people, right?
Over.
Yeah.
Don't limit me, man.
Yeah. So actually, let's say for the example, like in a lower scale, like say for me, as I'm IT guy, let's say I put a goal like I'm gonna take this certificate within this month, right? Okay, I do study it and I get a lot, and then I achieved that my goal. I got it, and I got the satisfaction. But how did you track of your satisfaction? Like, did you?
Sure. Well, first of all, I don't put time on any of my objectives, right? Time's a man-made construct. The minute I tell or set a goal that I want to empower 100 people by the end of this month, or I want to make $1 million by the end of this year, you realize the minute you do that, the second you put that out there, you create resistance, right? You create anxiety, you create shortages. Every second that ticks by that you don't have what you put your objective to, what are you running out of? Time. So do not attach your emotion or time to an outcome. The interval of time is defined by two things, causes and outcomes. That's how you define time. The biggest misuse of time is between problems and solutions. They exist in one time. The thing is, you can't solve a problem in the same consciousness as a solution, so you have to change the consciousness, which creates a delta or a difference in time. And so what I don't do is put a time frame on any of my objectives. I just try to do it at the right way at the perfect time or as fast as I can to that measure. But how do I measure quantitatively empowering over 1 billion people? Well, I just use math. I know, and the reason I do all these meetups, write books, podcasts, TV shows, put everything out there for free that I can, is that I'm trying to empower 1,000 people in my lifetime to empower 1,000 people to empower 1,000 people. So here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, about 10 people at the beginning of the meetup. We'll probably end up with 20 or 30. And if those people continue to learn the values and the daily practices, watch the videos, read books, everything I can do for free, that we'll get to 1,000 ambassadors, 1,000 people that will say, hey, here's how I would look at it. Here's how we change our mindset, our heart set, and our hand set to make a lot of money, help a lot of people, and have a lot of fun. Those are the 3 primary objectives of what I try to empower people to do. Because I've never met anyone that makes a lot of money, helps a lot of people, and has a lot of fun that isn't happy. And I believe a collective consciousness of this happiness will change the world. One of the things that I pointed out, I think you were there at the masterclass, is, everything you do today should be realistic. So if you are studying my calendar today, you go down and say, oh yeah, that's a lot. Dave's pretty active, he seems to be pretty efficient and effective, but nothing he does in a day is crazy. There's nothing, oh, he can't do that, right? It's just more of it. But if I told you when we first met, said, oh, what do you do? Oh, I'm changing the world. Most people would laugh at you. You're changing the world? Yeah, I'm going to change the world. I'm going to create a collective consciousness of happy people who make a lot of money, help a lot of people, and have a lot of fun. In fact, I'm going to empower over 1 billion people on earth before I'm dead. Most people laugh at that, right? But the truth is that my future objectives are relative. They're only relative to the meaning that I give it, not the ones that you give it. It's just relative to what I give. But the way that I'm going to get there is by being extremely realistic with today's time. I'm going to be efficient, effective, and statistically successful, productive, accessible, and gracious with my time today, aiming towards something that's completely stupid and audacious and outrageous that makes people laugh at me and even scares me. But if I continue to enjoy the consistent, persistent pursuit of that crazy dream every day with realistic activities, I'll get there a lot faster than someone that says, I need to empower 8 billion people by the time that I'm 70. All you're going to do is create resistance to you, attach your emotions to an outcome, create more shortages, voids, and obstacles, not allowing yourself to learn and grow, not taking the attitude that you're being protected and promoted, but usually punished. Because as that time ticks, the seconds get longer and longer in its relative nature. The last month of a deal, the last week of the deal, the last 2 minutes of a game seem much longer It's just relative. Your past is relative, your future is relative. You give meaning to both. Today's realistic. Come on a little bit closer just so you guys can hear me. Thanks. All right, I also have another question. Does that help? Yes.
So,
Been enough of everything for everyone. So I actually, and my team, we look for what other people are doing and charging for, and I see how I can do it for free. Not if, how I can do it for free. So when I know today, this is what I want personally, experientially, giving and receiving wise, I know my non-negotiables, so who I can help and who can help me, but I'm gonna spend, no matter what, every day, I'm gonna spend a minimum of an hour on my health, a minimum of 30 minutes with my wife, 30 minutes with my son who's 12, 2 minutes with my 3 daughters who are 23, 21, and 18, and 1 minute with my mom, minimum, every day. And then 10 minutes minimum studying time, studying my calendar. How productive, accessible, and gracious can I be? How efficient, effective, and statistically successful? People are like, man, that sounds exhausting. Every day you do that? Well, it's only 2 hours and 17 minutes. What are you doing with the other 21 hours and 43 minutes of your day? That seems like a lot. For me, sorry, one sec. So for me, I vacation every day, right? I vacation every day. Sometimes it's a minimum of 10 minutes of vacation. Sometimes I'm gonna go to Greece after this. It'll be a minimum of 12 hours of vacation time or activity I don't get paid for. So I'm, very clear on my objectives of the day of what I want, who I can help, who can help me, and how best to get it done. The key confirmation, if you're balancing your life correctly, is knowing how to prioritize. See, if you know how to prioritize not just the activity you have planned, but the activity you don't have planned, if things happen that aren't planned, if God's laughing at you for having a well-developed plan, then you know, if you know how to prioritize, that you know what's important to you. Not what's important to what other people want or what you're missing or don't want. Prioritization to me is key as a confirmation that I am balancing my time correctly, but it's also the antidote to procrastination and to feeling overwhelmed. Give me anyone that feels overwhelmed, anyone that procrastinates, and I can teach them to prioritize and they'll feel better immediately. They won't be procrastinating or feeling overwhelmed. Awanula.
hi.
Hi.
Do you prioritize even those 2 hours and 17 minutes between?
Yeah, so
Other talking,
I plan them, right? So when I create a calendar, in my calendar, non-negotiable is that time. So, I try with the health stuff to put it first because I hate having to tell my son, hey, sorry, I can't do this right now. I got to finish, my workout, or telling activity I get paid. Oh, hold on, I got to go, for a jog or whatever it is. So I try to do that first as I can. I did it today. I took the red eye in and I got that over with because I knew it would get harder and harder as the day went on. And then I schedule like any other call, when I'm on the road, or I schedule when I'm home, where I'm going to place those minimum amount of time. You'll be amazed when you schedule out and study your calendar, you'll be amazed how much time, what I call empty space, you have in your calendar. You'll just be amazed how many hours that you're like, how was I not getting everything done? When you study time and study your calendar, and I'm not saying look at your calendar, I'm saying use a lens of productivity, accessibility. Productivity is how much value am I going to provide with this activity. Accessibility is how accessible am I to other people, and how am I accessing what I want, how am I receiving, and the lens of gratitude. I actually think that reconciling time and gratitude is one of the most important things, because we're all kind, optimistic people who find light, love, and lessons in other people and other events, and we mostly make the best of it. So what happens? We get into abusive situations. We spend the majority of our time on things that bleed us instead of things that feed us. So if I'm reconciling and prioritizing my gratitude, saying, okay, there's light, love, and lessons in you, but is it worth my time to find it today? I can reevaluate later today or tomorrow, but right now, I want to talk to my wife. Good example, when I was younger, I was at dinner, and I used to take business calls at dinner. Maybe some of you grew up in a family like that, or do it yourself. So I take this phone call, I have all my kids there, my wife, and I walk away and I'm just, oh, just be a minute. I come back in 20 minutes, everyone's already done eating, everybody's pissed off at me, need to be offended. And my wife just straight out calls me out and said, how is it that you spend or prioritize your time with someone that you don't know or barely know over the people that you claim to care the most about? I'm just confused. We spend too much time with people that bleed us because we don't know what's important to us, or we know what's important to us, but we don't remember it and execute on it. That's called coherence. That's why I teach gratitude in the Gratitude Challenge, not just to remind you, remember, and recollect how important it is to be grateful and to live in the grace of the Almighty, but more importantly, to teach you coherence, that even if the simplest way that everyone agrees that can change your life, being thankful, by tonight, even though we all believe it, even though every physics, quantum physics, and metaphysics will affirm it, every thought leader you've ever heard of, you name them, go look gratitude in Sadhguru, Deepak Chopra, Jack Canfield, Bob Proctor. Look at gratitude in Reverend Jesse Jackson to Michael Beckwith to Oprah Winfrey, whoever you like. Put gratitude next to their name and they all have something with gratitude. Denzel Washington, gratitude. Even though this is true, by tonight, most of us, at least half of us won't say thank you. By tomorrow morning, at least another half of us won't say thank you. In 3 days, almost all of us will stop saying thank you. Coherence is the key. We know what's important to us, but even those who know that's important to us, we don't remember in the situation because we let urgency take over importance, or we just forget. And then two, we don't execute on it. So I try to teach a practice of coherence where you know your non-negotiables, you have your values of gratitude, forgiveness, accountability, and inspiration, and you're consistently enjoying reminding yourself in the situations that are most difficult to remind us, ego-based consciousness of anger, offense, separation, and guilt, resentment, fear, worry, complaining, judgments, conditions, attacks. In those moments, how much value do you think it is to remind, remember, and recollect how grateful you are? When the hardest things happen in your life, that you're being protected and promoted, not punished. That's the gift. And when you can live in those lenses, it's amazing how abundant everything comes through you. And you don't have the fear of trade, negotiation, scarcity, victimization. Things don't happen to you. You don't buy things you don't need. You don't buy things to impress people you don't like. You simply are abundant in full faith that I'm just going to spend minutes, a moment pissed off because the guy cut me off, not days, weeks, months, and years, and end up getting shot because you have accelerated in the wrong direction. This is how the mind, body, and soul, the mindset, heart set, and hand set all coordinate together. Great questions. Anyone else?
You know what it makes me think about?
Yes, sir.
Is kids. You know, you have kids and it's like, it's difficult, it's expensive and everything. But when you leave them for something like this, you think, you start thinking, man, I really miss these kids. And like, you really start thinking more positive about it. So when you return home, you're really positive.
Yeah, I used to tell, I have a great marriage, and people say, how the heck do you have such a great marriage? I'm like, because I leave 3 times a week. But it's really not. It's the difference is, I believe 2 minutes a day is worth more than 2 hours on a Saturday. So my kids are older. My youngest is 12, but I can't tell you, can tell you how much it means every day to be in contact with all my kids. Just know where they're at and look. I tell my kids every time I talk to them, I love you, I'm proud of you, and I always have your back. I tell my mom every time I talk to her, I'm happy, I'm healthy, I appreciate you, and I love you. Because I know as a parent, as much as we get caught up into what colleges they go to or what they're doing or whatever it is, what their batting averages are or how high they can jump or how fast they can run, the only thing you really want to know for your kids, are they happy? Are they healthy? Do they appreciate you? Do you add value to their life? And do they love you? So to remind, remember, and recollect a parent, no matter what your age is, it'll heal a lot of the separation and fear, because the parent's greatest fear is something happened to their child, not to them. And so when we separate ourselves physically, it reminds us of that connection that we have, and we have to act upon that. And having these non-negotiables are part of, for me, the process and the methodology to keep those relationships growing and healing instead of resentment, fear, trauma, anxiety, things that happen when you leave your kids and don't stay in contact with real simple statements, reassurances. Thank you, Jake. Yes, sir, you have a question in that book? I'll just take notes. All right, good. Yes?
As a business owner, what is your leadership philosophy?
So I have a very pragmatic leadership philosophy. I believe as a leader, you want to be an intelligent follower. In order to be an intelligent follower, you have to know what your people that work with you and collaborate and coordinate with you are listening for. And so the only way that you can do that is to have non-negotiable time with those people that you want to lead. So for me, pragmatically, I have a Monday morning non-negotiable meeting at 10 a.m. And the structure of that meeting is to have an intern tell me the 4 daily values of gratitude, empathy, accountability, and effective communication or inspiration. Have another intern talk about the 5 daily practices of knowing your what, your who, your how, your now, and applying your why, and explaining those to you. And then coordinate time with the organization for the week by studying the calendar together, going through each of the days. Now I have a bigger company, so I have calendar captains. So I have a Monday captain, or 2 of them, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday captains. And what they do is they study not only the Monday for that week, but every Monday for a month. Now, they pay less attention to 4 Mondays from now, but I also have 2 next day captains that are always studying how I can be more productive, accessible, and gracious with my time and the company's time. And then I take Q&A. On Monday, actually, I do a either dummy tax award where everyone tells me the biggest lesson they learned for the week and what values were applicable to that lesson. And then whoever had the greatest lesson, I'll give a bonus to. Or we'll do a lie to yourself, where what's the biggest lie you told to yourself? Because I want to raise the awareness of how much we do lie to ourselves and the impact it has on our lives. And then I'll take a Q&A. That's Monday. Wednesday, 15 minutes minimum. Only I go over the values and the daily practices, and we go through the calendar, again, midweek, studying each day. And then Fridays, I have a mandatory training that all of you can come to. I've been doing them for 22 years. We have over 66,000 people registered for it. And I do all types of training on every Friday. The replays are available for free. The trainings are free, but my company has to come to my trainings. And then I do an hour meeting again that's identical to the Monday meeting, except for it's more Q&A. I don't go through a dummy tax or the lying to yourself or the takeaway of the week that day. I do that on Mondays. So if you are in the activity that you get paid for, you're engaged in my business, then you're non-negotiable and mandatory to be there. And one of the other interesting things is I have unlimited vacation. So for me, I tell you I vacation every day. So I just want to know, look, are you available or not? So you go where the hell you want to go. You know what you need to do to be productive, accessible, and gracious working with me, but I need to know if you're not available so that I can have somebody make sure that if you're not going to be available for 3 days because you're, hiking the Himalayas, good for you. Most of the time I tell people I don't even care. Just tell me that you're not available, because I'm very secure in the way that I built my business, that number one, you want to be productive, accessible, and gracious. You want to be engaged in the business. You want to empower people to make money, help people, and have fun. You want to make money yourself, help people, and have fun. And the more that you engage and the more productive, accessible, and gracious you are, the more money you'll make and the more money we'll make. But I have no problem, people just telling me, hey, I'm not available 7 days a week. And I will tell you that my company is probably the most productive company that I've worked with in all my companies, 7 days a week. And they have more fun than any company I've ever been. They probably feel like they aren't engaged as much as they really are. So we use time like that. But be an intelligent follower is to be a great leader. Next questions. Don't be shy. Yes, Jake.
How do you get over firing fast?
Yeah, you're a Gary Vee fan. It's
Slow fire fast.
Yeah, I fire fast too. So if you hire slow, you'll be very confident when you fire fast. What do I mean by that? So I have timing and risk tolerance. I always learn up front. So I believe hiring an employee is an investment. I believe, obviously any type of transaction with money or time is an investment. So any type of investment I make, I have a timing and risk tolerance, so I hire slow. So I take someone and I have a period of 90 days that I give you to where I know you're breaking even for me. So I quantitatively say, okay, whatever that expense will be for 90 days, then we'll reassess, but you got to get to break even. Then in the next 180 to 360 days, I want you to get to 3 times earnings for me. And it's my job to create the systems to be able to identify that value that you're providing. And then after that becomes the equity phase. So you have a learning phase. You get hired by me, the first 90 days is an investment of mine to you. And I let the person know, I'm investing in you. And so if after that first 90 days, you're not break even, I don't care how nice you are, I don't care how much potential you have, you're out. But you know from day one that you have 90 days to break even for me. And then after the 180 to 360 days, same thing. If you can't get to 3 times earnings, I don't care how nice you are, you're gone. I'm running a business. We'll stay friends. And so it's really hard though. And I won't, like Lee Steinberg, when I ran the sports agency, he would have me as CEO fire everyone. I won't do that, right? I'll let you know where you're at and why I'm firing you. Fortunately, I believe every person I fire is my failure. So I can't remember the last time I had to fire someone, but I will. You can even lie and not get fired in my company, because I believe that everybody lies, and stealing's not acceptable. That's a lie that one, or hurting somebody else. But look, I can't tell you how many people, they may not even intentionally do it, they lie. They lie about where they're at, what they're doing. Most of those people in my company that lie, and they make up for it, so I really don't care, right? They feel guilty. Oh, I told Dave I was going to be available, and I ended up going to the Dodger game, and I used his suite, and he's going to find out. And then they end up, spending the whole weekend in guilt and shame and working their butts off. And I'm like, you're not going to get fired for that from me. But yeah, you got to manage expectations up front. Have your system. Accountability is really important as a leader, right? It's my failure. If something doesn't work out, I'm the one that hired you. I know my business better than you, and I should know the skills, the knowledge, and desire you have is aligned with the opportunity I'm giving you. Yes. Thank you for the questions, by the way.
At one of your lowest points financially, I remember you saying you turned to people and was asking how to help them.
Yes.
Do you feel having mentors is key for success and progress? Or do you
Great question. I said at my low point, I basically took a step back and said, who do I know that I can help to provide value to? And how can I articulate the value to exceed what I'm asking for? And is mentorship a critical component of that? And the answer is yes, 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 and yes. If somebody would ask me, the number one thing I can teach people is to ask for help, but not just ask for help from anyone. Ask for help from an open mind. See, I believe my frequency is my neighborhood. What does that mean? This changed my life. If I live in the projects, which I was born in Akron, Ohio, and I have all the potential of the world, right? I was born with all these gifts. I have all this potential in the world, but I'm sitting in the projects on a lawn chair, drinking a Colt 45, and I hit my buddy next to me drinking his 45, and I said, man, I got a great idea. I want to have the first convergence device. I want to have a computer that's a phone. And this guy next to me like, man, that's a great idea. No options, no opportunities, no touches of favor from my boy. But if I live in the luxury home part of Newport Beach on Newport Coast, and I'm hanging down, they got these private parks in the neighborhood there, right? And I'm just sitting there, and some guy walks by, and hey, how you doing? Sit down for a sec. I got this great idea. I'm gonna have this phone that's a computer and a phone. And the guy looks at me and goes, oh, that's a great idea. Can I give you $1 million for that? More options, opportunities, and touches of favor. Why? Because I'm in a better neighborhood. That's the only reason. Same potential, same idea. And you've had this happen. When you explain your situation in your new business, it was because of options, opportunities, and touches of favor because of the neighborhood that you're in. Well, your frequency is your neighborhood. See, when you're living at a higher frequency and you're living in the enjoyment of the consistent, persistent pursuit of your potential, and you're doing all the right things, you're elevating your awareness, it's amazing who appears in your life. Oh, I'm looking for, oh, I'm starting a business, man, you can run it. Oh, I would love to invest in that. Your frequency is your neighborhood. You don't got to move up to the dream homes or the luxury homes or the gated community. Your frequency, your vibration is your neighborhood. That's why intention is so important. That's why you got to do everything you can every day. Think, say, believe everything, and feel it every single day. Why? Because most people, they lie to themselves by going the extra mile. What does that mean? Lie to yourself to go the extra mile. Most people I know, if LeBron James, who's been gifted by gods with his unbelievable skills, knowledge, and desire to play basketball, if he only did work the extra mile, he wouldn't be the greatest player maybe of all time. Why? Because most people go the extra mile every once in a while. So what do? When they're not where they want to be, when they don't win the championships they want to win, they don't win the MVPs, or they get hurt, what do? They justify why they didn't get what they want by saying, well, but I went the extra mile. You know, remember in college, I worked my butt off in college. Remember 2 weeks ago, I had that great practice? That doesn't do it. You got to go the extra mile every day. And in order to go the extra mile every day, if you have to lower the bar and give it less minutes, but do it every day, then do that. Because if you go the extra mile every day, not every once in a while, there'll be nothing to justify except for your success, because you live in the empty mile, which is far less competitive than everyone else who's living in blame, shame, and justification in the extra mile every once in a while.
Can I ask a
Yes.
specific question?
Yeah,
Yeah, so,
you just did.
all right, so my issue is this, is that I need to fire my entire team. Well, need to, but I think I do.
Okay.
But the problem is, they're my friends, right?
That's a problem.
Which is the problem? Well, I don't think they'll stop me. They'll be mad for a week, right? Because they know. However, I understand that the reason why at this point is also my fault.
Yeah.
Because the issue is they're not performing one of the two tasks that I gave them, but the other task they do really well, right? I just need them to do both things. So I'm not sure if I need to separate tasks to two different business units, right? Or if I just need to hire people who perform the job the way I need it to perform in order for the business to grow the way it needs to.
Yeah. So first thing you got to determine is if you have a lettuce washer. And I did this with my friends, right? I had friends that I thought I was helping out by putting them in a position that they were incapable of performing. For example, imagine if my friend owns the Cleveland Cavaliers. And he said, Dave, I know you're a huge basketball fan. I know you love the Cavaliers. I want you to play guard. I see people do this in business all the time because we're friends. Am I helping him? No. Am I helping the team? No. If he instead took accountability and said, Dave, I know your skills, your knowledge, and desire. I'd like you to be the general manager of the team. Now we got better alignment. So I would take the group that does the one capability, see who has the skills, the knowledge, and the desire to do the other one, and take people who are creating a weakness and make it a strength. If you can't find someone that knows how to do number two, then go ahead and hire someone that can do number two and get rid of the lowest hanging, talent within the context of capability number one. But look, you're not doing anyone favors in any relationship if they're bleeding you. And it's okay to come to someone, regardless of your personal relationship, and say, hey, this is not about you, this is about me. This isn't a good fit. I'm more than happy to help you find a better fit for you. I always do that with anyone that I ask to move on. But I take accountability. Like I said earlier to Jake, right? I failed you. I provided you an opportunity you're not capable of doing. And now it's same with me playing guard with the Cavs. It wasn't my failure. He failed me. He gave me an opportunity I couldn't, and he knew I couldn't. Look at me. Same thing. It's much more obvious to me playing guard for the Cavs, but I see people hire people all the time, and it's almost as obvious. Right? Justin and I, we had a couple employees, and our expectations. We kept on wanting them to be LeBron James, and I'm like, he's not LeBron James. He's the guy selling the hot dogs in the stands. So let him sell the hot dogs in the stands. Don't try to make him dunk the basketball. He's not going to be the MVP of the team. But he's within the context of what I pay him. He's in that execution stage. He's past breaking even, right? He's making 3 times for me what he earns. I know he wants to make more, then he's going to have to show me how we can improve that variable so he can make twice as much as well. It's just math to me. Great. Yes, please.
I'm the 72-year-old woman who wanted to meet you through Ed Milet. I saw your interview.
With Ed?
Yes.
Yes.
And I'm still working, but I thought that I would.
No, first of all, there's no work.
No.
Activity I get paid for. That's it.
Yeah.
Work is so hard.
Hard.
Wouldn't you rather have activity you get paid
that's
for?
Why I started this free
Financial
literacy, and I found out that even Ed had done the same thing, and I love the fact that I can make awareness and consciousness. And because I started this, somebody made me an ambassador of the Continued Education Center. I said, fine. He says, you speak so well, you do so well, and I have a big, huge followers. So I said, why not, do that? So what do you have to say about this? I love
what you pay attention to and what you give intention to equals the coincidences in your life. And especially when we live in abundance to help other people, it's amazing. Money will follow you. Money will follow you. Your frequency and your energy. Take care, Jake.
I love the idea that I don't have to take any money from anybody, and I can give them 2-3 hours of my time, the expertise to explain, and then they choose what they want to do.
Let me explain something about this. One of the greatest paradigm shifts in my life was that I used to, and many of you probably are in this journey, I used to want to get more wealthy, more happy, more worthy, and more healthy. Every day, I want to be more wealthy, more happy, more worthy, and more healthy. Every day of my life, that's what I was trying to do. Inherent in wanting more means that you are living in a world of just enough. When you have faith, there's more than enough of everything for everyone. You can change your paradigm in life and say, hold on a second, elevate your frequency and say, I got a different neighborhood I want to live in because I am happy, I am healthy, I am wealthy, I am worthy. What am I doing to interfere with it? And when we focus our free will by paying attention and giving intention to clearing the interference instead of going to get something that you already have, and to me, it's a testament of faith. I don't care what religion, spirituality, I don't care what philosophies or theories you have. For me, it's a matter of faith. I believe that there's more than enough of everything for everyone. I believe in the infinite. I believe there's something bigger than me, an omniscient, all-powerful, all-knowing, omnipresent source. However you define it in your own belief and dogmatic beliefs, doesn't matter to me. But I believe there's something bigger than me that loves me more than my mom. Therefore, when I don't get the job, I don't get the deal, I have pain in my life, setbacks, failures, and mistakes as big as losing over $100 million, I have complete faith that I'm being protected and promoted. And everything as you get older and older, as I have, and I look backwards, that seemed to be the most horrific thing that I could never believe would happen, and I was so afraid of my whole life, and then it happened, ended up protecting and promoting me, not punishing me. Every single thing. Every girlfriend that broke up with me, every time I didn't get into Stanford, which was many, every time I didn't get the jobs that I wanted or the deal fell through or somebody ripped me off, stole from me, whatever it was, because the relativity time now allowed me to give a different meaning to it. That's the magic of the present compared to the past and the future. I can give meaning to the past and the future instantly. Guaranteed. Like this. Present, I have to deal with man-made constructive time, so I have to be productive, accessible, and gracious. But you got to have faith. You got to somehow have that faith, or else you'll live in a world of not enough or just enough and be punished every time. Live in that world of scarcity. If you believe there is abundance, money will follow you. Your frequency, the neighborhood, the coincidence will happen, the touches of favor, the options and opportunities. Then when you get into abundance, the only thing you have to deal with is feeling overwhelmed, so learn to prioritize and feel blessed that you feel overwhelmed because you have more than enough options, opportunities, and touches of favor. You just don't know how to prioritize. And that's why I have the daily practices. Yes. Yes.
You mentioned you worked with.
Oh.
What capacity was that? I'm just curious.
So no, I ran the most notable sports agency in the world with Lee Steinberg. So I work with the Cavs and the CEO of the Cavs.
Very nice.
Yeah, for many years. But what's your second question?
The second question is, what is your faith in? Like, if you don't mind sharing.
Yeah, I don't at all. So I grew up in a Jewish family. So my brother's a famous rabbi. My mom was the head of the San Diego Jewish Academy, and very dogmatic religion. And then I personally started studying. I've studied everything. So my faith is really simple, right? I believe everything's one. So my problem that I have with religion, my problem, not anyone else's, is I don't want to be separate from you. Because you tell me you somehow believe in the same, you don't get what you want. Why do you think that something worse has happened to you? Why do you think you're being punished? I personally think when setbacks, failures, mistakes happen to me, something better is coming and I just didn't know it. Why? Because I have faith there's an omniscient, all-powerful, all-knowing, omnipresent source that loves me more than my mom loved me. I just don't get it. Because I'm ignorant and humble. I have faith, not ignorant and arrogant, with fear, pretend like I do know what I know. Let me just tell you this. You don't know anything other than exactly now, because none of us know 10 seconds from now. There's trillions of variables that will exist between now and 10 seconds from now. Now you can give it meaning, and I suggest you use your mindset, your heart set, and your handset to give it a meaning. Even more powerful, you can give meaning to your past a lot easier than you can meaning to your future. That's an easy mindset to me. Take anything in my past and I can change it. All with my mindset, which will then change my heart set. Changing the future is a little bit more difficult, but we can do that as well. It's all relative. But the only way to change the future is to change today by utilizing productivity, accessibility, and gratitude in what you do.
I got a question.
Yes, sir. Yeah, thank you for coming.
I got a question. You have a long history of dealing with professional athletes during and post. What's the biggest advice you can give someone who's coming to the edge of the end of their career, or a person who's ending their career, about the transition, and what is the most important things you need to tell them?
Yeah, so this is a great question because it applies to military, athletes, anyone that's been in a career, the continual career that is very routine oriented. And so what I tell them is, let's look at your skills that you've developed through these routines. Let's look at the knowledge that you've gained of not only what, but who, and what is your desire. Now, let's look at what's doing well today, what's stable, and what you think is going to be doing well, and let's align your skills, your knowledge, and desire that have accumulated or aggregated from that unique experience of being a professional athlete or a member of our military or first responder, or anyone that has utilized an habitual career in order to effectuate their skills, knowledge, and desire. The problem is that most people don't take that analysis and they don't align or find supplementary or synergistic the skills, the knowledge of what and who, and the desire with what's doing well, what's stable, and what they think will be doing well. So you take an athlete who was extremely good at playing wide receiver, maybe till he was 38, and then he jumps into real estate, but he doesn't apply the skills that he gained that are applicable to real estate, the knowledge of what and who that's applicable to real estate. And usually, believe it or not, the desire part is easy at first because they're built on desire, right? The common denominator of a professional athlete, a billionaire, millionaire, an entrepreneur, an entertainer is that they must be what they can be. But that desire starts working against them because they forget the fact that they have been playing wide receiver since they were 5 years old, and every single day enjoying the consistent, persistent pursuit of their potential as a wide receiver. And for 33 straight years, 365 days a year, they've been paying attention and giving intention to playing football. And now they've given 35 months to real estate, and they can't imagine why they're not a Hall of Famer in real estate. They can't imagine why they lost money. They can't imagine why they're frustrated, because they're using the same discipline and it's driving them crazy. But if you can help someone in a transition, take the skills, the knowledge of what and who, and their desire, align it with what's doing well, what's stable, and what they think will be doing well, knowing their timing and risk tolerance up front, you'll have extraordinary success with people who have what I call coherence. See, the advantage of athletes and military people and people who have worked the same thing every day is that they have the superpower of consistency. That's my superpower. I was extremely consistent. I played college football for one reason. I was extremely consistent. It's the closest I came to my potential. When I started applying what I learned with the consistent, persistent behavior of a love of mine to play football to selling, something I was born with genetic and energetic inheritance like LeBron James was on the court, in a sales room, that's where I was born with the same capability. When I applied that there, it was amazing what we could do. Last question real quick.
Can I take a picture with
You can get, we're going to take a group photo too, and I have books for everyone. I will also, if you email me, david@dmeltzer.com, I have the 5 daily practices, other books, a 14-day gratitude challenge, anything you want, just email me.
How do you don't forget? You said that you have to have the thing, but then you have a bad day, and then you have another bad day. You forget.
Forgetting one time, first of all, forgetting one time is a mistake. 2 times is the start of a new habit.
Yeah.
So for me, just the idea, remember, remind, remember, and recollect. What do you think you're reminding, remembering, and recollecting with? So I create habits of access to remind, remember, and recollect that allowed me to have the coherence of what I want, who I can help, who can help me, and how to get it done. So I, number one, remind myself of the values first and then have these daily practices. So I won't forget to whatever it is that I want to do because I remember and I'm in the habit of knowing what I want every day, personally, experientially, giving and receiving, who I can help, who can help me, how to get it done with those lenses of productivity, accessibility, and gratitude. Knowing my now is easy because I know it's important to me, so I prioritize it, so I won't forget it. See, one of the advantages of knowing your now, of knowing how to prioritize, is 100% of the things you do now get done. And it takes minimum half as much time. Exponentially more productive to do things now. So the only way you can do things now is to truly know the process of prioritization by knowing your what, your who, and your how. If you know your now, I promise you your life will change and you won't forget the non-negotiables in your life. You won't forget to work out. You won't forget to say thank you. Now, do I forget to say thank you at times? Absolutely. But it's minutes and moments that I'm spending in ego-based consciousness, in fear, in resistance, all minutes and moments, not days, weeks, months, and years. And so, like I said, I forget something once, it's a mistake. I forget it twice, now it's a formation of a new habit. I don't want to form a new habit that is antithesis of what I want. It's counterproductive. Remember, bad habits and good habits aggregate at the same pace. The only difference is that a good habit, we expect instant or fast results, and bad habits, we never think there'll be a result. Both take so long that most people with good habits quit, and most people with bad habits don't quit. Think about it. And when they don't quit, it's too late. And unfortunately, if the person